Hi guys, right, today we're going to be running through how to build a website using Divi 2019. So this is the latest Divi builder. It can be run on any website theme at all, but I'm going to be using it with a Divi theme. So the first thing that you want to do is to plan your layout of the home page, because all of the other pages will take shape based on the home page setup. So what I've done is I've prepared a brief layout on how I want the home page to look. So as you can see here, we've got the logo, navigation bar right at the top. Then I'm going to put in a slider. I'm just going to use a couple of slides for this demo. Then a welcome message, separator. I'm going to include 3 products and services, although I'm not going to actually put any content around those behind as the page behind the actual sort of picture that we've got there. Then I've got another separator, and then I'm going to be putting in some stats, so basic counters, and that's a way to show your customers when they're visiting your website, you know, what sort of sales figures you're getting, or whatever else you want to create stats for. Then I've got another separator, and then I've got a call to action, which is basically a big block of color with some text and a link off. You can put a nice big button in there, and then on every website you've got the footer information. So that's going to be the basic layout of it. What I'm actually going to do is I've already got Divi loaded. So in one of my previous videos I've already run through how to set up your WordPress site, so adding security. So without any further ado, we're going to go there straight away now. So we've got no posts installed, we've got no pages installed, apart from the default privacy policy that comes as standard with WordPress nowadays. And then I've got the Divi theme installed, although it's not the latest theme, but that doesn't matter. AndVe got the latest Divi theme builder. Included in that I've got Divi Booster, which I'm just going to run through quickly. So this is a way of overwriting some of the Divi options. It's quite useful to fine-tune your website, but I'm not going to go through that today. What we're actually going to go through today is actually building the home page up. So the first thing that we want to do is we want to come to our pages, and we want to create a new page. I am going to call this home page. You can call it whatever you want. What I suggest is make it descriptive to do with your website. So if you've got, I don't know, a network installation website, then perhaps you can call this one network installation Surrey, or network installation Berkshire, or wherever you are. That's going to sort of narrow it down and target your audience. So as you can see here, the Divi builder has integrated correctly. So we click on the Divi builder. This gives us our first layout. So the first thing that we want to do is I'm actually going to use a full width section. So first of all, I'm going to go to the actual site so I can show you what it is that we've got. So this is what it stands like at the moment. As you can see here, we've got the logo already created, so I don't need to do anything with that, but you can add your own logo, and I'll show you how to do that shortly. And then you've already got the menu bar there, so we're going to go straight into adding the slider. But first of all, let's just show you how you can and where you can set your logo. So I'm just going to save that as a draft, and then where you want to set your logo is you want to come down to your theme options, and you can either upload a logo here. So the size of this, you can fine-tune this, so don't worry about the size too much, but I usually use a logo round about 350 pixels wide and 120 pixels high, and then you can adjust things using your Divi Booster around the height difference between the top of the page or the top of the slider if you're using that. So that's the logo and the navigation bar. So the navigation bar will get created when you start creating pages. So once you've created 3 or 4 pages, you would then add them to the menu in the normal way that you would do, which is off the appearance heading here, and go down to menus. What we've got, you can create yourself a menu, so I'm going to do this as main home page. Now what you can do here is, if you tick this box here, automatically add top level pages to this menu, every page that you create will get added to the menu automatically. I don't actually do that because if you've got loads of pages that are potentially sub-menu items, so if you've got a main heading and then you've got sub-menu items, you don't want those to be added automatically, or I certainly don't anyway. So I'm going to leave that unticked for now. The display location is the primary menu, so I'm going to tick that and I'm going to save that menu. So now if we go back to the website, we can see that nothing's changed, but it will do once we start adding the items. So the first thing that we were going to do is we're going to go back to our home page, which is off the pages menu and all pages. Here's our home page, so I'm going to go back in and edit this. Right, so there's different types of sliders that you can use. What I want to do is I want to do a full width slider. As you can see here, it's a full width of the page. So I'm going to use a section down here called full width section. So I'm going to add that, and then I'm going to add a module. So because I'm adding a slider, I want to pick the full width slider option. So I'm going to add that. And these are the controls around it. So first thing we want to do is we're going to go in and add a new slide. So at the moment I'm not going to put any heading information in there. Now there's different types of sliders. So what I want is I want a whole image going right the way across the page. So to do that, it's a background image. So I'm going to select the image option here, and I'm going to find a full width picture. So let's have a look. Okay, so I've got none at the moment here. So what we want to do is add one. I'm going to use one from another directory. Okay, so I'm going to use this one here. Okay, so the size of this is enormous. It's 2,730 pixels by over 1,500 pixels. So you don't need that much. I don't need it to be that size, but I'm going to select full width because Divi will take care of resizing it. There we go. I'm not going to use a parallax effect. So the parallax effect is where the image stays in the background and the content scrolls over the top. It's quite fancy. If you're using a smaller image than your screen size, so I'm not, so I haven't got to worry about this, but these are the options that you want to use. So you want to set your background image size to cover, you want to set your background image position to center, and you don't want it to repeat. Otherwise you'll get joins everywhere and it looks pretty awful. Okay, so that is the first thing. So now if you want to put a heading, so if you want to put some text on your slide, you can do that. So if we do this, I'm going to set this to heading text. Heading subtext. So that's the button. So click. Okay, so if we save that, and you can add another slide if you want, but for the minute I'm just going to add the one slide. We can go back in and edit this option later. So I'm going to say save and exit. Then the next thing that I wanted to do is I don't want any content above the slider, so I am going to move the slider up, so that's literally drag and drop, and then if we want to have a look at that, I'm going to say save that. And then I'm going to do a right click and say open a new window. I want to have a look to see what this is looking like. So there we go. So this is your first slider image. As you can see there, you can adjust the height of it later on. If you want to go in and adjust the modules, you can adjust the height for this one via the Divi options. So here's our heading text, and here's our button that we set earlier. Obviously you can change all of this stuff, so if you want to adjust the colors, you can also maybe add an overlay on top of your image to fade it out slightly so that you can see the text a bit clearer. But that is what I wanted to see. So that's the full image slider. That's the first one. Okay, so let's go back now and add another slide. So this is a second slide, so we'll call this one slide. And then again, you want to go down and change the background, so we're going to set the background to an image. I'm going to upload another file. I'll just have let's have a purple bokeh background. So this should be the exact size of the screen, 1920 by 1080. There we go. So we'll add that as the background. Second slide, click me button, done. If you want to link off to another web page, so for instance, if you've already created some pages or you want to create some pages and link off to it, this is where you would add the URL to that web page, and that will pick it up on the button. So I'm going to save that. Okay, save the draft. So that should now have two images. We'll refresh the home page. So that's the first one. That's the second one. Okay, so the next thing that we want to do is we want to amend the slider, because I don't want to show the navigation arrows. So this is these are all the options for the text and the images, the buttons, etc. Okay, so because I've switched off the left and right arrows to navigate through the slider, I want the slider to move automatically. So this is the option here. So on your slider customization, you want to go to design, scroll all the way down to the bottom, and then you want automatic animation, and at the moment it's set for 7,000 milliseconds, so this is milliseconds, not seconds. So I want to set mine for 5 seconds, and this option here, continue automatic slide on hover, so this means that if I position my mouse on top of the slider, it will stop the slide from progressing. So if I set that to on, it's going to continue. If I set it to off, it will pause while my mouse is hovering over it, and it allows you to click the button then, or your visitors to click the button. So I'm going to save that, save the draft. We'll go back to our page and we'll refresh it. So we'll wait 5 seconds, and this should change. There we go. And again, all of the text here and the button is customizable. So if you've noticed, because my mouse is now hovering over the slide, it's not moving. So it's not moving again. So if I remove my mouse, we'll wait up to 5 seconds. That will then move around to the first slide again. Okay, so that is the slider built. So going back to our layout, the next thing that I wanted was a welcome message. So I'm just going to use a standard piece of text or a text block for this. So we'll go back to our page, and this time we don't want it to be full width, so we're going to use a standard section here, which is depicted by the blue, and we're going to insert a column. Now this is interesting. So how do you want your layout to look? So I'm going to use a single column all the way across, and then I'm going to add a text module into this one. So this is the text, so I can say to welcome and I want to center that, so I'm going to click on center, and I want that to be heading 1, and then I'm going to save that. So that's the text module in. The next thing was a separator. Okay, divider. So separator is also known as divider. So yes, I want to show the divider. I don't want it to have a background, but I do want to color it. So I'm going to go on to design, and then I'm going to pick the color that I want. So let's have a nice purple divider. How do you want it? So solid, dash, dotted, all the options are here. I'm going to use a solid one, and I'm going to use 5. And again, the options here, how much space do you want added below the divider? Standard is 23 pixels, and it's going to reach across 100% of the page. So you can set this back if you want, so 90%, whatever, and then if you would align it into center. I'm going to have mine as 100%. The rest of the options, there are tons of options here, so play around with them as you want to. And then once you're happy with it, save and exit. So that's our welcome message and our separator, and now we want to add some products or services, and we want a product and services header. So again, I'm going to use a text module, and I'm going to do and services, and I'm going to center it, and I want that to be heading 2. Save that. So the next thing that we want is we want to have 3 products and services. So I'm going to insert a new row, and I'm going to have it split up into thirds. So I want 3 columns basically. So here we've got our 3 columns, and then I want to add some. I'm going to add a blurb. So this gives you the ability to add an image and some text. So I'm going to call this one services 1, and I'm going to add some text. This this is some text. Do we want to use an icon? So if you want to use an icon, you can. It will then prompt you where you want to position it. So I'm going to have a light bulb. Whether you want to link it off to a page, so yep, you would do. And I am going to add I'm going to add an image. So the image that I'm going to add is I'm going to use the same image for all of them, and then we don't have to mess around again. So this one here, that'll do. So that is 500 by 263. So I'm going to insert that into the page like that, with my text underneath it. I'm going to save and exit. Now what you can do is, for our instance, I'm actually going to clone that. Call it services 2. I'm going to drag that, put that into there, and then I'm going to clone it again. I'm going to call it services 3, and then I'm going to drag that and put it into there. And then save the draft, and we can go and have a look at the page. So we're going to refresh that. So here's our website so far. Welcome to our website, products and services. Okay, so I'm actually going to remove those. Just don't really like them. So go back into our blurb. Not going to use an icon. So you can see how easy it is. Once that's saved, there's a draft, which it has. I can refresh that. There we go. So as you can see here, perhaps we would probably want the services 1, 2 and 3 to be central and the text to be central. So let's have a look at how we can change that. Services 1 title. Okay, so that's going to be on the design settings. So what we're looking for here is we're looking for title. Okay, so here we are. Title, text alignment, center, and standard text orientation. We're going to have that centered as well. So just to show you the difference, on services 1 we should now have our header centralized and our text centralized underneath the image. There we go. So that's your services 1 centralized with an image, and then we've only got this little bit of text, but if you wanted to put a block of text in about the services, you'd do that there. So that's the product and services. Now the next thing that we wanted to do was to add another separator. So we're going to go back here, but what we can do is we're going to be using the same one. So let's use that. We can't at the moment, so we need to add another standard section with a single layout, and then I can take the divider and I can drag that down to there. So divider, blurb, products and services, stats header. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm simply going to clone this one, drag that down to here, and then edit it. And so this is what we wanted to call. We wanted to call this one services stats. And then we wanted to add okay. So I think we're going to have number counter, which would be great. So I'm going to not do that at the moment. I'm actually going to do I've actually got to put another add a row. I can do this, so I can do that. I thought I could. So I want 3 lots again. You can obviously add more if you want. So I'm going to add 3 columns. In this column I'm going to add a number counter. Deployed. So if I do, I don't know, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Don't want it to be a percentage. We haven't got a link off anywhere. So this is just the first one. So that's a number counter. The next one was a circle counter, so let's have that. So let's do 98765. Turn the percentage off, it helps. 98765. You can only use natural numbers from 0 to 100. Okay, so let's use 84. So theme we offer. Themes we offer. Again, I don't want to link it off anywhere else, but you can do if you want to. So we've got a number counter, we've got a circle counter. Let's have this one as a bar counter. So let's call that bandwidth saved, and we'll say 92. Save that one. Second bar counter. Network speed. Call that, I don't know, 85. Save that. Not going to use percentages. Save and exit. Okay, so that's our 3 counter types. They're not going to look very pretty at the moment, but we can touch all this up later. So that's our stats. Next thing that we want is our separator again. So I'm actually going to clone this here, and I'm going to drag that underneath there. I'm going to put the divider above the text. And then we had a call to action. So we can delete that. We can insert a module, and we're going to use a call to action. Okay, so I'm just going to add some dummy text here. Clear the formatting. Okay, so that's our call to action, and button text is fine. So button URL, put it in there. Okay, so I want to save that, and we can check on how it looks. So what we've done the slider, we've done the introductory text, we've got our separator, we've got our products and services. Let's refresh the page, and now we've got our service stats. So there we go. So we've got our number counter, we've got our circle counter, and we've got our bar counter here. We carry on down, and we've got our call to action. So the first thing we want to do is we want to make sure that everything looks the same. So because we're using purple separators, I guess we could change this to be purple. So the way that you would do that is you come down to your counter and edit it, and we want to go to design, as you can see at the moment it's picking up the default from the website. Okay, so let's set that to purple, and the number text color we want to set that to purple. Border width is fine because we're not using a border. Save and exit that. Now we go to our circle counter, and we'll do the same again. We want to go to design, bar background color, set that to purple, circle color, set that to purple, I'm basically setting it all to purple on this one, but you can play around with it as you see fit. And then the final one again, under design, bar background color, purple, text color, might as well do purple so it's all the same. Percentage color, we're not using a percentage, that won't pick up, which is fine. Save that, save our draft again. That's done, and then refresh our page. There we go. So the only thing that I didn't do was to change the text here, and we can do that. Go to circle counter, design, number text. Here it is. So this is the one that I didn't change. Save that. Save the draft. And then refresh our page and we should see that in purple now. Yep, there we go. Okay, and then finally the last object, which is the call to action. So we can go back in here. Again, we go to our design. Okay, that must be on the content page. Yep. So the background color here, you change it by using the tools option here. So select that. I'm going to select purple. Save that. Save our draft. And then coming back to our page, we can refresh that. And there, it's changed it nicely. Okay, so that is basically how to set up a home page. There are hundreds and hundreds, well, there's many modules within Divi that you can use. So if we go and have a look at our modules here, so you can see all of the options that you've got here. If you want to add some code, you can do that as well. Comments, contact forms, countdown timer, so that'd be great for the launch of a new product or service and you want a page about it, or if you've got a new website and you want to put a countdown timer on the under construction page, you can do that. Map, portfolio, filterable portfolio, which is really good. If you want to add bio, so information about a person or people, and if you've got something like WooCommerce, you can interact with WooCommerce as well with your products straight into Divi, which is really good. Testimonials, the toggle field is quite a good one as well, so you can toggle lumps of text between the two. If you've got lots of different products and services, you can have them all on the one page under each product under their own toggle area, which is very useful. And another one that I use quite regularly is the pricing tables. So speciality section, let's talk about that one briefly. So this gives you the ability to lay out your page and have Divi do all the coding work for you. So let's click on that. So you can see here the layout of the page and the different sections allow you to start really building up bespoke pages on your WordPress sites. I'm not going to talk about that one today, otherwise we will be going on forever and ever. So the next thing that I need to talk you through is saving it. So once you save it, it will be actively visible on your site. So you do want to make sure that you build your website offline, unless it's already built and you are just building a new page. So Divi will happily let you install it onto an existing website already. You don't need to have a clean website to be able to install the Divi builder, and it's really useful to be able to build up complex pages without any coding knowledge at all. So finally, I'm going to publish that page. And then once that's published, the next thing that we want to do is we want to tell WordPress actually to use that page as its home page. So that's published it. And then theme customizer down the bottom under the Divi menu. They've changed it slightly. So we want to go to our homepage settings, which is here. So at the moment, as you can see, the page is standard. So we want to tell WordPress that we're actually going to be using a static page, and then our static page is homepage. There we go. And then we want to publish that. And that's it, finished. So now if I click on the logo, there we go. So that is our brand new homepage. It's just a very small sample of what Divi can do. I will continue to produce additional videos of building up bespoke pages. But if you found this video useful, it would be great if you could like, and also if you could subscribe to our channel, that would be fantastic. And that's a way that you will get to hear about new WordPress updates and videos in the future. Thanks for watching.